Now, a top judge on the D.C. Circuit is poised to make the leap, but if history is any guide, he could face an especially tough Senate confirmation. So here's a look at Judge Brett Kavanaugh.
I, Brett M. Kavanaugh,
do solemnly swear.
do solemnly swear.
It is the image that may cement or sink the Supreme Court aspirations of Judge Brett Kavanaugh.
I chose Brett because of the force of his mind, his breadth of experience, and the strength of his character.
The former loyal aide to President George W. Bush, close friend and advisor as a White House lawyer and staff secretary, traveling in the top D.C. legal and political circles, earning the confidence of power players like Karl Rove. Kavanaugh's elevation to the federal appeals court was celebrated with the Rose Garden swearing in by fellow Catholic and now retiring Justice Anthony Kennedy, for whom Kavanaugh served as a law clerk in 1993. It came after 2 years of contentious delay tactics by Democrats who claimed Kavanaugh was overly partisan.
You could not think of another nomination, given Mr. Kavanaugh's record, more designed to divide us. This nomination appears to be judicial payment for political services rendered.
Sources said at the time opposition from the left was fueled by concerns Kavanaugh could one day sit on the Supreme Court.
I consider myself a Republican and I support President Bush.
Those close ties may now create concern from the current president, given Trump's past rhetorical run-ins with the Bushes. Trump in 2008 seemed to back impeaching President Bush for the Iraq War, which Trump said would be a, quote, wonderful thing. And candidate Trump in 2016 had repeated verbal clashes with rival Jeb Bush, former Florida governor.
Jeb doesn't really believe I'm unhinged. He said that very simply because he has failed in this campaign. It's been a total disaster. Nobody cares.
As for Kavanaugh, he brings a stellar resume, Yale Law School, and a top deputy to Special Prosecutor Ken Starr's probe of Bill Clinton that led to the president's impeachment. On the bench, the 53-year-old has been a reliable conservative on his court, reining in dozens of administrative decisions of the Obama White House. But conservatives are at odds over whether a 2015 ruling on Obamacare signaled his implicit support of the law. And debate, too, whether Kavanaugh would limit access to abortion, since he's never directly confronted the issue as a judge and hasn't said publicly whether he'd overturn Roe v. Wade. But just days ago, he dissented in the appeals court decision that allowed a pregnant teenager in the U.S. illegally to get an abortion. Kavanaugh wrote that was, quote, ultimately based on a constitutional principle as novel as it is wrong, a new right for unlawful immigrant minors in U.S. government detention to obtain immediate abortion on demand. Despite his conservative credentials, there's some concern among Trump supporters. Kavanaugh is too much the D.C. insider, born, raised, and thriving in the so-called Washington swamp. Some pro-life groups say they have expressed concerns they have about Kavanaugh directly to the White House.